G'day mates and matettes, I'm Cunt and today we'll be covering the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Dino. For the astute among you, you will know I am referring to none other than Kent Hovind, a famously dumb creationist even by creationist standards. But creationism isn't his biggest sin. No, he is guilty of a far worse crime. The promotion of conspiracy theories, specifically anti-vax. This is beyond the realms of misleading an education. This is providing misinformation that could cause serious health risks, not the least of which is death. Now, I feel I have to warn you that this video's quality is extremely poor. It's like 360p and that's being generous. But I feel it needs responding to, so I'm throwing standards to the wind. So, let us hear Mr. Hovind's drivel.
My intentions are pure, but I'm just a bit blunt. And to a few select people, I'm the world's greatest cunt.
There have always been dictators who want to work that way. You know, they want to accomplish a goal. If you got to kill some innocent people in the meantime, oh well. You know, if you have to blow up the Twin Towers to get your bill passed, you know, oh well, let's blow up the Twin Towers.
Starting out strong with the conspiracy theories with the famously debunked 9/11 was an inside job. Woo! There is so much evidence that it wasn't the Bush administration that it is incredible that people still believe this shit. Let's see where he takes this.
Innocent people don't matter. Charles Wooster, who works for the Environmental Defense Fund, said people are the cause of all the problems. We have too many of them. We need to get rid of some of them. Of course, he's not in the ones that need to go.
DDT. The chemical that caused eggshell thinning in birds and was concluded to be carcinogenic, that means it causes cancer, by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, was banned due to efforts of population control. Dude, the national animal of America, the bald eagle, would likely have gone extinct if it weren't for that ban, yet you think it was implemented as a population control method. I've heard you advocate against the use of pesticides too. What world-ending scenario would a DDT ban bring about? The answer is none, because it has been banned worldwide for nearly 50 years now. 48. You mentioned 9/11, so I know this video was recorded in the after? What the fuck did I write this? Whatever. 2001, which means it has been at least 29 years since the ban. Oh boy, this fills me with confidence that this video won't be absolute shit, he said sarcastically.
And they were talking about banning DDT, which had some problems, of course, but was very effective at what it did.
Yes, but some would say the negatives outweigh the positives, Kent.
In the old days, they used to soak lumber in creosote. Anybody remember the old timers? Remember the creosoted pulp? Man, and they used to put, what's the stuff they used to put around your house to get the termites out that they banned? It worked really well for termites, and anything that works good has been taken off the market, you know.
Creosote, another carcinogen. Any other cancer-causing chemicals you are upset are banned while we're at it? Now, while I can't specifically comment on the termite killer you're referring to because I don't know what it's called, but we can assume it had some adverse health effect just from the examples you've provided thus far. Because they cause fucking cancer!
Now you got stuff that brings them in. What Termidor is what we use now, you know. It brings them in. And they eat it and go back to the hive or whatever the tribe and the colony and kill them. But here they were talking about banning DDT, and Wooster said, well, if we ban DDT, it will help lower the population of people.
Well, that wasn't a standing failure given the population is still growing. Also, all the chemicals that you mentioned before killed people. Wouldn't it be more effective to leave them around instead of banning them? Like, pick your avenue and at least try and stick to your conspiracy theories. Don't just let them crumble apart at like the slightest little gust of inquisitive air. What type of brain do you have to believe this shit? It just, there's no semblance of thought went into creating this. It's like, oh, I read this on the internet. just put it on my slides.
Interesting. Bill Clinton, spelled with a K intentionally there because of his communist leanings.
Oh, grow the fuck up. I see where the roots of calling Aaron Ra Larry Nelson are now. Let's see if you earn the moniker cunt Hovind Aaron gave you. Probably fucking deserve it already, but I might as well give you the benefit of the doubt.
Bill Clinton signed the Biodiversity Treaty in 1993, which says, we must either reduce Earth's human population to 1 billion or reduce the standard of living to an agrarian peasant status.
Yeah, mate, that treaty doesn't say that anywhere. In fact, I would be inclined to believe you made it up because I can't find this so-called quote or even what section of the convention it may have been drawn from, so you're just flat out lying here. There is no basis in reality for this statement, and it doesn't surprise me. That's the sad part.
What are they trying to do? There are 6 billion people on the planet. They would like to reduce the population to 1 billion or make everybody a peasant.
Those are your words, not the writer's. Probably extracted from an extremely unrelated statement. Read things in context, my friends. It'll do wonders for your accuracy.
Because a farmer, you know, he doesn't have much impact on the ecology like a person driving a car, you know, and wanting actually hot water in their house, you know, and actually building a road. And, the United States was divided up years ago to protect the biodiversity, you know, to protect the animals. And this map shows the proposed biodiversity impact. The red areas are for animals only. No humans allowed, period.
Here, let me give you that in a little bit higher resolution than 14 pixels. As you can see, the red zones have little to no human use and act as corridors that native fauna could thrive, interbreed, and migrate in, preventing loss of habitats to human intervention. How is this a negative again?
The yellow areas are for buffer zones to protect the animals. You can go in the yellow area if you have a special pass. Green areas are for humans.
It's more to protect people from building or camping in those locations, but once again, I failed to see the issue. America is bloody big. You can share it with the fucking animals.
It goes back to the animal rights, you know, mentality. Animals have rights. I agree. They taste really good on a hamburger, you know, you can...
Okay, I'm no vegetarian. I love a good steak. But it's pretty disingenuous to say animals don't have rights. Are we a species that eats meat and preys on other animals? Yes, but let us remember that the distinction between us and the animals you don't give a shit about is just the fine motor control over our forelimbs and relative size of our brains. We aren't that fucking special. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot my Bible. Forget I mentioned that. Fuck 'em all to death, I say.
But that's the plan, anyway, to reduce the population close to, you know, to 500 million. Peter Singer, Princeton University professor, who I'd love to debate. I don't know if he's even still alive. I think he is. He said, Christianity is our foe. If animal rights is to succeed, we must destroy this Judeo-Christian religious tradition.
You see, that quote refers specifically to how you don't think animals are in the same category as humans, so don't deserve any rights, as I alluded to earlier. I'm not going to touch the idea of not eating animals, but most people agree that an animal still has some basic level of rights.
Peter Singer, by the way, is trying to pass legislation that allows abortions after the baby's born.
Peter Singer has advocated for the right to kill disabled children after birth, and he has been lambasted 7 ways to Sunday for it. Even the strongest abortion activists who believe a pregnancy should be able to be terminated at any point prior to birth believe that Singer's ideas are heinous and stray too close to eugenics. This was never legislation, though, so it isn't relevant. Stop poisoning the well and move on.
You have 28 days to decide if you want to keep it. Sounds like the Spartans, you know, in 2,000 years ago. Are we going back to heathenism? Peter Singer gets his way, we will.
Really? You hear about someone advocating for the right to murder babies, and your first thought is about spinning it to be heathenistic instead of just dealing with the ideas and why they are fucking stupid. You're a cunt. I mean, I am cunt, but you are a fucking cunt.
A couple good websites about that. See about Peter Singer's philosophy. Alan Gregg said, he works for the Rockefeller Foundation, the world has cancer and the cancer is man. Where do people get a dumb idea like this?
From the quite accurate analogy that we are multiplying and taking the Earth's natural resources for ourselves, so that nothing else can exist but us. Like how cancerous cells kill their host? I don't know. Just a little bit of guess.
The Bible says God created the world for it's His world, but He created it for us. He gave us, dominion over the earth. Prince Philip, who's the husband of Queen Elizabeth, and she's the one who invented the microwave. Goes like that. Think about it. You'll get it in about 20 minutes, okay?
What a comedic genius you are.
Prince Philip said, if I could be reincarnated, I would wish to return to Earth as a killer virus to lower human population levels. You say, man, that's terrible. Well, especially when you consider he's got a huge majority holding in ADM, Archer Daniels Midland, which is one of the largest food distributors in the world.
You're right. I would say that it is pretty terrible for a person to wish that. But he is also right that war, starvation, and disease will control the population for us if we can't find a way to create universal equity. However, none of that suggests that he is going to use his sway at ADM to poison half the fucking population, you colossal fuckwit.
Suppose you get a guy in charge of a company like that decides, okay, we're going to quietly put everything into place, and at a given signal, everybody dump something into the food supply, and we're going to lower the population in less than a week. He's in a position to do it.
Press X to doubt. Thoroughly doubt. While money is alluring, there would be a disturbingly obvious paper trail back to him and any of his co-conspirators. Also, it hasn't happened yet after like 30 years, so I very much doubt he will kill anyone at the ripe old age of 98.
You get a guy with a motive and a method, most courts are going to look at that as, well, this is a dangerous situation here. Yes, sir?
I was going to say, he just played it off as a virus.
Sure. Oh, the chicken flu, killed everybody or whatever, They'll have I'm sure they got a cover story. I mean, that's obvious. You got to have a cover story.
Yeah, hey man, you do realize that the nidus of a disease is one of the first things they investigate? Like, hey fellow researcher, let's find out where mystery virus X comes from. And just like that, the biggest conspiracy ever is uncovered. Try to think rationally, my friend, lest you end up like Alex Jones. Come to think of it, at least Alex Jones is funny. You're just a fucking idiot.
It makes you stop and wonder, what's really causing this? You need to go to billsardi.com if you want to see some of these new flus everybody's worried about, all the the birds dying off, killing them off. Go to billsardi.com and read his website about that. Some of these viruses are deliberately being injected to lower the population.
Bill Sardi is a snake oil salesman who has no relevant qualifications, nor does he demonstrate that he has any idea how pathogen transmission works. His evidence is basically, can you imagine the people doing this? If yes, then it happened. Promoting quacks is now Kent Hovind's fucking thing, apparently. Well bloody done, my friend. You really are cunt Hovind.
There's a great book I read a few months ago called Seeds of Deception, Genetically Engineered Foods. Monsanto Corporation, including right here in Pensacola. Are they still in operation here in Pensacola? Monsanto?
Oh god, you should have seen how hard my favorite VCE biology podcaster laughed when he talked about GMOs and their health risks. Andrew Dausch, if you're interested. It's fake news, my friend. They aren't bad for your health. You don't need to be worried. Changing the DNA of an organism doesn't make it worse for you unless that DNA encodes for a toxin or something. So please, for the love of God, lay off Monsanto for the GMOs. They are far more credible controversies from Monsanto, such as the fact you can't replant the seeds from Monsanto crops, which is really bad when we talk about using GMOs for developing countries and as a way to end world hunger when you can't replant the crops.
A big company for years, as far as I know they are, and many other companies, but primarily Monsanto, has tried to corner the market on food production with genetically modified foods. Now, they've been banned in Europe, but 70% of the foods eaten by U.S. consumers that are processed foods, okay, contain genetically modified.
Not that you guys just noticed the jump cut, but I may have had an incident in which I spilt a milk-based beverage on some electrical equipment, but you know what? We're back in business now. Back in business to say, yes, of course we use GMOs because they are objectively better. This is not a bad thing until it results in a market monopoly, at which point legislation needs to happen, but the GMOs themselves are not dangerous, so they're not the issue in question.
Go to Taco Bell, you get their tortilla, which has corn, which is genetically modified. What do? Well, they take the gene code and they modify it. Here's what the goal is: to get the seed to already have the pesticide built in to the gene code. So as it grows, the animals won't eat it. So in Europe, as they started doing this genetically modified food, people started noticing the butterflies are dying off. The butterfly goes to suck the juice out of the flower like he's done all of his life, and all of a sudden he croaks. And so to save the butterflies, they banned the genetically modified food.
And that's why regulations on what GMOs are allowed to be used where are a lot harsher nowadays. The pesticide corn was harmful to the environment and thus it was banned. That doesn't mean all GMOs are Satan spawn. Christ, man.
Now the fact that it kills people, oh well, you know. Here's an article from this page from this book, Seeds of Deception, which we sell, by the way, in our bookstore. It's not a Christian book, but in May 2003, President Bush proposed an initiative to end hunger in Africa using genetically modified foods. He also blamed Europe's unfounded, unscientific fears of these foods for hindering efforts to end hunger.
Yes and yes, both very valid points. Do go on.
Bush was convinced that GM food, genetically modified, held the key to greater yields, expanded U.S. exports, and a better world. His rhetoric is not new. It's been passed down from president to president and delivered to the American people through regular news reports and industry advertisements.
Well, yes, the government is trying to alleviate irrational fears and promote American businesses, while the company is trying to sell a product. Plus, everyone benefits from a thriving economy, so of course presidents are going to endorse it with how much industry has just been shipped overseas.
The message was part of a master plan that has been crafted by corporations determined to control the world's food supply. Keep in mind, love of money, root of all evil. This was made clear in a biotech industry conference in '99, where a representative from Arthur Andersen Consulting Group explained how his company had helped Monsanto create that plan. First, they asked Monsanto what their ideal future looked like in 15 to 20 years. Monsanto executives described a world with 100% of all commercial seeds genetically modified and patented.
If that's true, then that just confirms that Monsanto is a scummy corporation. Not that there's anything wrong with the seeds. Come on, Ken, use that brain of yours. Did I say Ken? Kent! Whoa, that milk-based beverage incident really threw my head out of the game. Mixing up my Kens and Kents and Scummanies. Whew, I got a lot of work to do.
Love of money, got to get a patent.
Oh, I get it. When you heard that someone liked money, you immediately concluded that they were trying to kill everyone. Oh, it's so clear. How did I miss that?
Anderson then worked backward from that goal and developed the strategy and tactics to achieve it. They presented Monsanto with the steps and procedures needed to obtain a place of industry dominance in a world in which natural seeds were virtually extinct. Now think about it. For centuries, for all of human history, the farmer plants his corn, harvests the field, saves back part of his corn for seed for next year, right?
Okay, I'll save you some time. Kent thinks that Monsanto trying to monopolize the seed industry is bad, despite the fact that this is what every big company in every industry is striving towards. That doesn't immediately make every product in existence a piece of shit, though. Use your brain, Kent! I know it's hiding in there somewhere. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for. I know what you're thinking. Cunt! I was promised vaccine talk. Well, to that I say patience. This is going to be a 3-part series, and the entire thing is stupid and ignorant. If it makes you feel better, I'll try and upload weekly until it's complete. But between work and school, it may be tough, so I would humbly ask that you leave some feedback on the video. Positive or negative, it doesn't really matter. All of it does help. Oh, and leave a comment to show YouTube algorithm viewer engagement. Oh, I mean, so I can have valuable interactions with you, like this one. Ultimately, though, the best thing you could do if you like my content is subscribe. Okay, well, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Thursday.